Everyone, it is Diana Hidalgo. I'm here live with you today to talk about the sacral chakra. So thank you all for joining. I am just waiting a few moments for Facebook to go live. All right, guys. Hey, everyone. This is Diana Hidalgo, and I am going to be talking about the sacral chakra today. So as a reminder, I'm going to keep pulling this up. Last time we talked about the root chakra. Today we're going to talk about the sacral chakra, the second chakra, starting from the bottom. So that's the plan for today. So just as a recap, and I'll keep this up for a few, just so that we can kind of talk a little bit as people join. Thank you all for joining, first of all. I love talking about this stuff. In case you haven't noticed, I love talking about how things that we can learn about energetically about our bodies that affect us, how we can kind of learn about them and how we can sort of incorporate them into our lives in a practical sense. And when I did my 101, I talked about how learning about the chakras, it's an energy system in the body that actually comes from the other side of the world, from India. And it came here in 1918, so we really haven't known that much about it in this side of the world. And it's really an amazing thing to learn all these beautiful things about our chakras and our bodies and how all of these energy systems affect our bodies in different ways. So I'm really having a great time talking about it, and I hope that you all are enjoying it as well. Like I said, today we're going to talk about the second chakra, which is the sacral chakra. And I'm going to try to pronounce the name properly. It is Zadhisthana. Zadhisthana. That's a very difficult thing to pronounce, but it's actually kind of fun. And so the color for it is orange. So I am wearing orange, it's kind of coral, if you will. I'm wearing coral today to represent the sacral chakra. And so let's get into it. Feel free to bring any questions that you have about any of the stuff that we've covered so far, whether it's the root chakra, whether it's the whole 101 that I gave not long ago. I'd love to answer any questions that you might have. Okay, so thank you all for joining. All right, so like I said, at this point we did basically a 101 on all the chakras, crystals that are related to them, and really how it applies to your personal life, and basically how you can incorporate this whole idea of these energy systems into our daily lives. So we covered the 7 major chakra system and the crystals that support them and how it's relevant. And then last week we talked about the root chakra, what it actually means, what it represents, the meaning behind it, the energy that it comes with, and how that energy actually sort of works in our bodies on a physical level, energetic, and emotional, psychological level. And today we are going to talk about the sacral chakra. But just as a recap, let's go over the 7 chakras. So it's the crown, between the eyebrows is your ajna, then it's your throat chakra, your heart chakra, your solar plexus, which we're going to cover next week, and then your sacral chakra is right below your navel, and then the root chakra all the way at the bottom. So again, the sacral chakra is called Svadhisthana, and the color is orange. And so what I've learned about it is that Sva, which is the beginning of the word, means self, and Sthana means place. So it actually means the dwelling place of the self, which is kind of an interesting, kind of philosophical idea, right? Dwelling place of the self. The location of the chakra, like I mentioned before, is below the abdomen, and the lower abdomen below the tailbone, and it actually includes the lower pelvis, the womb, and the genitals. So what does that mean? Remember what we talked about at the beginning, that everything has its location, and therefore, just like the nervous system, whatever major nerve, bunch of nerves or bundle of nerves exists in different places, it innervates what's around it. So in this case, that particular chakra, the sacral chakra, actually innervates, guess what? Your sexual organs. And therefore, it has a lot of meaning behind it. So let's get into it. So the real purpose for that particular chakra, the sacral chakra, is it's the center for your emotions, your desires, and your pleasure, right? It's about sexuality, procreation, and creativity. So it's not just sex. It's actually about creativity, creation, the whole idea of creation. And so generally activating this chakra helps you feel alive. It helps you feel alive and sensual and desired and basically enjoying everything, enjoying life. So you're more in touch with your emotions, and because you're so trusting of your own emotions and yourself, right? It's the dwelling of the self. You're actually trusting toward others, and you feel creative and playful. So if you think about it, isn't that true to life? And isn't that true? Haven't we felt that way before? Like whenever we're feeling like really good in ourselves and really, happy with our lives and how, and our emotions, and really like pleasant, feeling that pleasant experience in our bodies, don't we feel like just sharing it with everyone and connecting with everyone? It's kind of how I feel about when I talk about this kind of material. I kind of feel really lit up and excited about it because it's really part of my purpose and part of my drive and part of what I really enjoy. So it makes me want to, guess what? Share and be creative and be playful about it. And I mean, I guess I get dressed up when I wear this stuff, when I talk about this stuff, because I enjoy it so much. So that's what the sacral chakra really helps you with. It helps you kind of connect to that part of yourself that wants to share with the world. And isn't that also what a sexual experience is? It's a sharing, whether with yourself or with others, right? So, and it's also creation. It's part of creation. So it's actually a really amazing chakra to work with and to talk about. So now let's talk about the symptoms when it's imbalanced, when it's not balanced at all. So like I mentioned, the Svadhisthana is about sexuality, procreation, and creativity. And so what do you think might happen when it is out of whack, right? When it's out of balance? Well, there's a few areas. It affects your mental, your emotional, and your physical aspect of yourself. And so let's get into it. What does the mental, emotional imbalance look like? It actually looks like you have addictive and compulsive behaviors, sexual dysfunction, fear of change, emotional instability, and lack of creative energy. So whenever you feel any of those things, it means that there's an imbalance happening in your sacrum, in your sacral chakra. So that's just the mental, emotional side. So now on the physical side, some of the, because it's, related to the genital areas, some of the things that can happen are reproductive issues. So infertility, impotence, menstrual issues for the women who have issues with their uterus or any kind of menstrual situation, issues with the lower back, things with kidneys and stomach disorders. So all of those things actually are part of the sacral chakra. So if you think about it, our emotions is part of the emotions, right? So we have our lower emotions live in that side, in the sacral area, that sacral chakra area. So what happens when you feel like anxious or fearful? Sometimes you feel it in the lower area here, right? Like your stomach, you feel queasy, you're like, okay, something's not right. So now you're getting like, all the connections between, that area and the chakra system. There's also obviously issues with the reproductive system, and because it's about reproduction and sexuality and all that, that's all of that good stuff. It's all creative energy. So if you're ever feeling in a slump, like, oh man, I'm like, I have no ideas for this book. I'm like a complete blank page, or just my creative zest for life, for doing things around the house and just like creating and building things. It's just I don't feel it anymore. Well, that's all part of the sacral chakra. So let's see what we can do to actually bring it back into balance. So when this chakra is balanced, you're going to feel creative, playful, sensual, and sexual, and pleasure, like all of that good stuff, right? So how do we get there? Well, similar to what we talked about last week with the root chakra, there are some basic things that you can do basically that covers all of them, and then there are specific things that you can do for that particular chakra. So Things that you can do in general are, for example, connecting with the earth and anchoring yourself in your environment, right? That's going to help with everything. That's going to help with all of the chakras and pretty much every area of your life, because that's like a general grounding of all of the chakras. The next thing is finding healthy ways that work for you, that calm and soothe you. So last week we talked about, meditation, mindfulness, doing breathing exercises, things that actually kind of soothe and calm you down. You can also do like incense and special oils, things like that. So all of that stuff pretty much calms your nervous system down, and it calms any emotional upsets and things like that, which in this case is crucial for the sacral chakra because it's one of the seats of our emotions, right? So lower emotions. You can also do things like the yoga postures and specific asanas that are, geared toward that particular chakra. And again, if you have any questions on the specific ones, I can guide you in the right direction. I'm not a yoga expert, but I know that there are definitely different yoga positions and asanas that you can do that are related to specific chakras. Other things that you can do are energy balancing. So whether you do it for yourself through Dr. Dispenza actually has a really amazing meditation that actually I've used it myself. It covers all the chakras and it helps you kind of balance them all. So that's one thing you can do, or you can go to an energy healer like myself and I can help you balance it. And I also do like specific meditations, which we're going to do right after this presentation that I'm doing. And we're going to work specifically on that chakra and bringing that chakra into balance through use of energy, of course, pranic energy, affirmations, and pretty much tying everything into what the chakra represents and allowing it to heal and relax and calm. So what else? So the other thing that we can do is positive affirmations or incantations around the idea of sensuality and creativity. So this really helps you get out of your old habits and foster new ones. So anything that's holding you back that's related to sensuality, sexuality, creativity, emotions, and all these different things that are related to that chakra, you can actually start doing affirmations that kind of reverse it. So for example, things like, I deserve to experience pleasure and have my needs met. I feel safe to express my sexual self in fun, creative, and healthy ways. I embrace change and make the best of my future, which kind of tackles the whole fear idea, right? Because that's part of an imbalance in the sacral. Every day I experience more joy and satisfaction. Because remember, it's all about being playful. So the idea is to make you feel like you deserve, and it's part of your right as a human being to be playful, to be joyous, to wear coral shirts, to, whatever that looks like for you. All those things are part of, of you, and you should be able to express those. Another one I like is I flow with inspiration and creativity. Doesn't it feel so good to be inspired and creative and get those juices flowing around that area? It feels just amazing. Okay, and then the last one is my body is vibrant and I'm comfortable inside. So it's like an ownership of your body, but also feeling like you're in flow and you're inspired and you can do creative things. Okay. All right, so those are all the incantations and affirmations. So the next thing, which you all know, is crystals, and I actually have a couple of them around me that I'm going to show, and I'll mention a few, and you'll notice that there's a pattern because, like I mentioned, that the color of the chakra itself is basically orange. Last week we talked about the root, which is red, so we covered some of the red crystals that can assist, and as always, you can choose crystals that are in alignment via color for that particular chakra. So you'll see that I've chosen a couple that are with the color and then a couple that are not necessarily the same color, but that serves the purpose of alignment. And you'll also see a pattern of prosperity, abundance, sexual drive, because creativity also is related to abundance and creation in life, whether it's, money, whether it's, objects, connections with people, all those things are related to that. Okay, so two of the ones that I want to talk about today are, or actually there's a couple of them, but one of them we talked about a little bit last week, is carnelian. Carnelian can be used for the root chakra or the sacral chakra. Okay, so that's just kind of like a secondary crystal that you can use. One that's fully related to it is citrine, and I'm actually wearing it today. It's one of the rings that I'm wearing. And again, often the crystals match the color of the actual chakra. So you can see this one is kind of like yellowish. Sometimes it's orange and things like that. Citrine is really amazing for attracting abundance and connecting with your confidence and personal power. So all of that, I don't know about you, but it makes me feel like really creative and really alive and invigorated when I think about connecting with my confidence and power. It gives you that energy of like, oh, I'm out there and I'm being present in the world. And then you can be playful and creative and all those beautiful things. Now, another one is amber. And amber I don't have, but it's a very similar color to the citrine. It has like a honey kind of color. And that's really great at allowing your body to heal itself by absorbing negative energies and transmuting it into positive energy. It also is a really great protective shield against pain and energy from others. And it also stabilizes the emotional body and promotes one's mental and emotional strengths. So I talked about how like sacral is related to your emotions, right? It's the lower emotions in your body. It's right in your around like your intestine area and things like that. So it's definitely connected to your emotions, and amber is a really great stone at stabilizing that emotional body and promoting that wellness in that area. Another one that's a good one is pyrite. Now pyrite is used to be called fool's gold because people would find it and think, oh my God, it's gold and I'm going to be rich. But actually it's not really gold. It just has the color of gold because it's metallic. Now, pyrite is an amazing, powerful stone for prosperity and abundance. It's also great, like people use it a lot for, when you're starting a new business. It promotes, success in the new ventures and manifesting money. But it also increases one's courage and confidence. And it gives you kind of like the willpower to follow through with projects that you're working on to completion. And then, of course, it's also related to your sex drive. So it actually increases your sex drive and can heal any genital issues. So if you know anyone or if you yourself have any issues in that area, because the sacral actually is related to your, your sexual parts, you can actually use this to help heal it. So you can use it for meditation. You can, just hold it and, do positive affirmations to yourself about healing yourself and creating more sexual energy and creative energy for yourself, things like that. Those are all things that you can do with these types of stones. Another secondary stone is calcite, which I love calcite. And I actually have a whole bag of calcite because it's a really great stone of amplification. I remember I talked about how crystals are amplifiers. Well, this is like the big mama and big daddy of like amplification, because it actually creates a loop to magnify whatever it's put with. So like I mentioned crystal grids, and I'll get into a whole series or section on crystal grids. But when you create a crystal grids, which is basically a collection of stones that's put in a specific pattern, and you put a calcite in there, it actually double amplifies the potency and the energy in anything that you request. So whatever your request is for that grid or for whatever you're using the crystals for, it actually amplifies it like double, which is amazing. So calcite is just an amazing stone. And then there's also argon. So argon is also like a collection of stones that they're often put in like little pyramids and things like this, because if you know or you don't know, pyramids are actually a really great geometric structure for amplification as well, right? Because everything is being sort of targeted toward one point, and so it's really a great amplification shape as well. Okay, so those are secondary ones. So Argonite, which actually I thought I had an Argonite here, but I didn't bring it out. Argonite is also a really nice brownish, orangish color, which also matches the sacral chakra. Calcite, I mentioned cornelian. Those are all crystals that really help maintain the balance of the chakras as a whole. There's a lot of stones that kind of help balance all the chakras, right? And so some of those are that's what they do. So my general recommendation is always try the ones that are relevant first. So obviously, like, you know, I already mentioned the citrine. Calcite is more along the lines of that color. An argon that has similar colors, right? Even carnelian is close in color, depending on what color you get it. So always start with the ones that are relevant in color to the chakra, and then if you don't seem to resonate with it, then find the ones that are also related to it, like pyrite. Pyrite is in the right color or right color of the chakra, but it does help to balance it. So pyrite is a really amazing one. So try secondary ones, try the primary ones, and see how it resonates with you. And obviously, like, you can meditate with it, you can spend time with it, and see how, if anything changes, basically, if you feel a difference. So as I mentioned, crystals are amazing because they're amplifiers. So whatever intention you set for it, it's going to be amplified. So definitely choose wisely as you're selecting your crystals that are relevant to that particular chakra. Yeah. So a reminder that the tools are coming. I am going to be talking about crystal grids, and there's also a subscription service I'm going to talk about really soon where you can get a crystal of the month that comes with a couple of other goodies. So that's going to be coming really, really soon. I'll start posting about that probably in another week or so. And as always, there's tons of resources that you can get. You can also request, I can send you this PDF if you're interested in learning some of the details that I've talked about so far. But there's tons of books. There's apps like the Crystal Guru app that talks about all the crystals that you can research and learn about. The Beatfulness app, which I use for meditation, and I actually use it often to meditate with the crystals I work with. And as always, thank you so much for joining. Today was really fun talking about the sacral chakra, which is all about playfulness and sensuality and sexuality. The color is orange, and I love it. It's probably one of my favorite chakras to work with. So thanks for joining, and I am your resource for energy healing and creation of grids, as well as any kind of coaching along the area of purpose that you might need. So I look forward to helping you and helping you clear your spaces with crystals, and I'll see you in the next session. If you have any questions, feel free to post in the comments below. I'll see you all soon.